For the concluding interview segment of the program. We're being joined from Lakbai, Niger State by Dr. Aliu Elias, who is also a political economist and a regular on the program. A very good morning to you, Dr. Aliu. It's wonderful to have you join us virtually.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Well, I can't hear you clearly, but if you can hear me, the first item on the list this morning is a passage of a Senate bill to ban foreign currency within the country. Now, this is also coming off the back of recent happenings where we have seen the dollar dip a little bit in favor of the naira. As an economist, how much of an economic impact will this have on our naira, especially with the flotation of the naira that has happened since the inception of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's regime?
Right. I think it's quite very, very important for us to make sure that we domesticate the usage of naira and in both local transaction and international transaction. You will agree with me that no country in this world that will allow you to use your currency, foreign currency in their soil. I can tell you, even America can never allow you to use pounds for transaction in their own country. So Nigeria must insist. It's a good bill by Nedunwoko that you cannot use dollar for transaction. In fact, if you go to Nigerian banks, you see the queue of people wanted to deposit dollar, of people that want to receive dollar, equal the people that want to transact with naira. So it's quite appalling, and it's time that we stop that negative externalities happens to Nigeria. So I think it's important at this point that for
It's important to have
we'll
that
continue
happen.
to go
Like
all
you,
Nigerians to support that bill to make sure that it actually comes to fruitfulness. If not, we will.
well, it's important to have that happen, like you rightly pointed out. But how much of an effect will this have on businesses, especially within the country, who sometimes choose to trade in foreign currencies? Now, I know that many calls have been made for persons who are trying to dollarize our economy to stop. But don't you think it will sort of affect some foreign businesses that are residing within the country?
Right. I don't think it will affect those any businesses that is in the country. If you cannot abide by the law of Nigeria, then don't transact in Nigeria. You cannot go to any European country and said you want to transact. I traveled out and I wanted to actually even exchange money. They have to ask for my international passport. They have to make sure they follow me and know what and the amount I'm actually changing. So it's quite important that we stay put to that law, and it must have presidential support. You know, this is a bill by the legislature. Presidential support is very, very key, because if we do that, it will make our dollars to be very strong. Among the bill that he even proposes that even our foreign reserve should also be in naira and domicile in Nigeria. If we do that, we'll have a stronger economy. It will help us to have a balance of currency, because as it is now, everybody is running after dollars and pounds, and and the supply side is not helping. But the diaspora remittance is not helping enough. So we must make sure that we insist that you must transact in Nigeria with naira, and any export, any international transaction in Nigeria must also be, and no foreign school should earn salary in dollars. It can be dollar equivalent, but it should be in naira.
How will this affect the bureau de change industry that is in the country, especially within the FCT here? I'm sure you are very much familiar with the Zone 4 area where a lot of business thrives, a lot of foreign currency business goes on every day with humongous amounts of money being transacted. If that sector goes down, will it have any implication, especially on the economy in some way? Maybe not just within the FCT, but
Right.
across the country.
You will recall that we have about 6,000 breed change before now, but with the coming of this CBN, it has reduced them to about 500, and with that, you can easily control them. It cannot stop the business of breed change. If you go to anywhere in the world, there is still a breed change that exchange money. So I don't think it will any way affect their businesses. The only thing is that it will stop people from transacting. I can tell you, most Nigerians even keep their monies in dollars. Everybody is speculating how much dollar and pounds and euro will be, which is not good. So if we have a way that you cannot transact with dollar, In fact, most payments I can tell you, a street payment, they will demand that I want you to pay me in dollar. It's because of the speculation. So until we prohibit and make sure that it is unlawful for you to transact with dollar, I think not only dollar, foreign currency, including pounds and euro, even yuan, you have to stop those things so that at least by so doing, we could now have a better economy. They are killing Nigeria economy.
Is this going to in any way help with the fight against insurgency or insecurity in the country, being that sometimes these ransom monies are paid in foreign currencies to these bandits or kidnappers? I mean, it's less bulkier, it's easier to carry around. $10,000 is way lesser than 10,000 that than its equivalent in naira. If you take a look at it, is this also going to help in stemming down insecurity in any way? Do you think so?
Definitely it will stem the tide of insecurity. You recall that even Dubai government has said they discovered that 6 people are financing terrorists and through foreign currency. I think they cannot even survive. You recall that if you have to give somebody 200 million naira and it has to be in naira, right? It's going to be very, very big. But if it is in dollars, it will just be some pieces. So, and that's why it is important that we look into that and make sure that we discourage it. Will discourage a lot of illegal transaction because most transaction in pounds, dollar, and in euro in Nigeria, most of them stand to be illegal. They won't pass through the normal banking system, and we should stop transacting dollars as if we are transacting naira even in our banks. It's very, very key.
How will this be received by the international community? Now, mind you, the move is a ban on foreign currency payments now to ensure that this prohibits salaries, transactions, and payments in foreign currencies, ensuring all workers, including expatriates, are remunerated in naira, as this will eliminate discriminatory
Right. I
practices
think
and
the
bolster
fact is that,
confidence in the local currency. How will this be received
well, if,
by these expatriates in question?
right, I think it is our country, and we must determine how we want things to be done. If you go to all those international countries, you must abide by their rules and regulation. I think it's a good one. In as much as we are not having West African currency, it is called Nigerian currency as at now. So I think they must abide by the law. If I thought you want to transact dollar and what have you, it should be within. You could recall that along Airport Road, there are some in Abuja. There are some a Chinese store is saying no Nigeria should come and even transact there within Nigerian soil. I could tell you there are some people also that they transact all transaction in their own foreign currency, which is not acceptable in our country. But you cannot go there and have naira. Apart from that, the naira will not have value. It's also tantamount to illegal activities. So I think we should illegalize it and make sure that we do the right thing. It's not by them, it's for Nigerian advantage and Nigeria economy in particular.
Well, certainly it's not about them. It's about us and our economy and ensuring that we put back naira on the scale that it has been. Now, as an economist, Dr. Aliu, remember when the flotation of the naira happened with some, dollars by the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Now, will this ban on foreign currency usage within the country have any form of impact on that flotation? And do you care to take us through what these implications might be for us and our currency?
Right. If you look at the flotation itself, it is said that willing buyer, willing seller. And from me onset, as an economist, we negate that principle of willing buyer, willing seller because you cannot go to any country and said you will leave your foreign your international, your currency in the hand on of international currency, which is not good. However, this would have helped more. Nigeria would not be at advantage at this case because if now we can now say, oh, don't transact in other currency in our country, it will now have effect on free willing buyer, willing seller because there will be much more supply, but there will not be much more demand. And when supply is higher than demand, it's a good one for the economy. The economy will now flourish, will now have balance, in terms of dollar. Not that you will now be looking for, as at now, everybody is looking for dollar, pounds, and euro. But if you make sure that you ban the use of it for transaction, there'll be sufficient dollar and there'll be less usage of those dollar and other currencies.
How much of a boost will this be for our exports industry at a time when the country or the presidency, the government continues to push and promote for local commodity exports to the foreign scene, and now the bill is set to ensure that it is mandatory for naira to be used for exports. In clear terms or in layman terms, how much of a boost is this for our export?
Right. For me, I think it's not bad because when you are doing export, we have export import bank that can handle that for you. So there is not much worries. If you want to export and there is need for you to actually work in dollars and pounds, you have much more opportunity and you have pounds. I mean, you have export and import bank. You have promotion of export promotion council, and you can also go to maybe different banks that support export, and you convert whatever you want to pay. You pay in naira, they pay your counterpart in dollar. It's as simple as that. It has no negative effect whatsoever.
Calls have been made by many well-meaning Africans, especially in the western parts of Africa, within the ECOWAS, for a common denomination or a common currency across, member states of the Economic Community of West African States. If this happens, is this perhaps going to also reflect on our economy in any way to bolster our currency and also place it on a global scale that is maybe shoulder to shoulder with other foreign currencies like the dollar and the rest?
Right, I think it is quite expected. Remember, we're the giant of Africa, not only even in terms of words, let alone our economy. Now, let's look at it from this perspective. For West Africa, they just have 230 million population. Which countries in West Africa can dare Nigeria in terms of size, in terms of economy, in terms of population, in terms of even purchasing power? So it's going to be to our advantage to have single currency in West Africa, and I expect President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the chairman of West Africa now, to make sure that he encourage that. I know we have a serious issue because you know why? Most French speaking country are much more than English speaking. That could cause the problem. But Nigeria, Ghana is very, very big. Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone can actually look for it and convince this counterpart, especially now that most of country under France are having issues now. You know, most of them are under military president. So if we look at that and take advantage of it now, I think it's need for us to achieve that single currency. That will strengthen Nigeria economy, strengthen Nigeria export. It will also help African free trade area that we are canvassing for to the benefit of the West Africa.
The dollar for crude exchange that usually goes on the international scale is on one hand, but also the recent declaration by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the NNPCL to sell crude to Dangote refinery in naira is a move that has been welcomed by many Nigerians, including yourself, Dr. Aliu. If perhaps this bill doesn't see the light of day at the end of the day, are there any other agencies or any other sectors, I beg your pardon, that you think such declarations of, the usage of naira for transactions, is will help in ensuring that we sort of de-dollarize our economy?
Now, Nigeria has been dollarized so much that virtually every transaction tends to be in dollar. But with what Nigeria is doing for Dangote, which is Naira for crude, I think it's a very good one and it's a good one in the right direction. However, it must not stop at Dangote. We must look at other small industry that embark on transacting with dollars. They should come to the reality and transact with naira. It's very, very important for by the time we do it. In fact, do you know that common, let me not say common, look at a country like Togo, Benin Republic, all these West African countries, their money now have more value than naira. Is that not appalling at this level that we are today? That Nigeria, I recall 2014, I went to Benin Republic to purchase. I have to go with a Ghana must go because their money does not have value. But now is in other way. We cannot even call people from those countries to come and work in Nigeria because of the value of naira. So we must do something very urgent to make sure that we restore that glory.
In closing now, Dr. Aliu, a report from the National Bureau of Statistics says that in 1 year alone, Nigerians paid about 2.23 trillion naira in ransom to kidnappers and bandits in the country. With this bill coming to life, are we going to see a more robust and more sophisticated way of tracking some of these monies that are being paid as ransom? 2.2 trillion naira is quite a humongous amount to overlook in such a situation. Don't you think so?
Well, I think Nigeria NFIU, Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit of Nigerian Police, need to do more, because how can such humongous amount pass through Nigeria, whether by crook, whether by bank, whether by whatever means, and we could not track it? I think it's like in an indictment on Nigerian Police, NFIU, and on it, because they need to do more. However, with this one that they will say that we shouldn't use any dollar in Nigeria, both for local and international transactions, that would have helped us. So it's a welcome idea that no one should transact with dollar, pounds, euro, or whatever international currency in Nigeria economy. I think it's a good one.
Well, in just 30 seconds, your final words, Dr. Aliu, before we let you go from the studio here. Your final words to maybe businesses in the country who are still adamant
Right.
on using foreign currencies for transactions like the Chinese
Well,
supermarket that
I
you
will
had
start
cited
from
along the airport road.
right. Right, I would like to start from National Assembly. I would like to urge all the National Assembly members, both Senate and House of Reps, to make sure that this bill is the light of the day. That's number one. Number two, we must also ask for presidency to have their own executive interest in it. Three, I must also tell the Nigerian citizen that this is our country. You must continue to exercise what is right.
All right, Dr. Aliu Elias, I must thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having this discussion with you, but I'm afraid we just have to let you go. Time is not on our side, but it's been a pleasure.